Welcome to Advantage Leadership Coaching's training. Break through your glass ceiling with business etiquette and savvy. I'm Barbara Jordan, and I'm a women's leadership coach who helps aspiring women break through their glass ceiling, and executive recovery coach helping executives and other high-income, high-profile leaders struggling with addiction. Before I get started, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. Would you like to develop the professional attitude and habits to advance your career? And would you like to gain the mindsets and skill sets of the most politically business savvy leaders? Well, if you answered yes, you've come to the right place. I'm going to teach you the concepts that have allowed me to literally transform the lives of hundreds of leaders like yourself and advance their careers. 80% of success is what? Showing up, right? Yes, give yourself a pat on the back and say, way to go, you showed up. I'd like to thank you for interrupting your schedule and taking the time to be here. I'm going to honor that commitment by making sure your time here today is spent wisely. How does that sound? And as long as you're spending your precious time here today with me, would you like to learn faster? And would you like to learn or remember more of what you learn? Research shows the key to that is what? Participation, involvement, yes. And the more involved you are, the more you learn. And that is why I ask you questions as well as filling in the blanks. Why do you suppose I ask you to fill in the blanks and ask you questions? Again, to get you involved and get you to participate so that you learn more and retain more of what you learn. Let me ask you this, do you have clients? And do you have employees? So what do you do if you want these employees or clients to listen? You ask them questions, right? Yes. And you may also notice that from time to time I'll leave the last word off the end of a sentence and your mind fills in the what? Blank. Yes, thank you. You guys are good. That's another way I encourage your involvement. You may also notice that I repeat things and ask you to do the same. Now, why would I ask you to repeat things? Again, for involvement, so you learn faster and remember more of what you learn. Besides, if I say something, it means one thing, but if you say it, it means everything. And since we're spending the time together today, would you mind if I shared a little bit about myself? After all, you may be asking yourself, who is Barbara Jordan and why should I listen to her? Well, the reason I'm so passionate about this stuff is that I love to help people grow and improve. To do this, I obtained degree after degree, certification after certification, and license after license. If you visit my home, you'll see library shelves full of leadership development and personal growth books. I have been studying human development, behavior, and performance for 25 years, and I've taught over 16 different courses at the college level. As an author, leadership coach for women, and executive recovery coach for leaders struggling with addiction, I thought I had it all. I was on my way to the top, so it seemed. Despite pursuing all that knowledge, skill, and experience, I felt stuck in my career. After a series of unfortunate events, including both parents' deaths and a nasty divorce, I lost my business. I knew what I had to do. I just didn't do what I knew. How many of you have been there? You knew you were meant for something more, you could do more, be more, and have more. As a student, I was on the Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. With 3 degrees, 3 certifications, and 3 professional licenses, I was the greatest overeducated underachiever around. I have more letters behind my name than my alphabet soup. As a perfectionist with an imposter mindset, I was afraid my friends wouldn't like me. My parents and children wouldn't respect me. Potential business prospects had no interest in me. Like many successful women in leadership, I felt like a fraud, thinking that if they only knew the truth, the people who admire and respect me would reject me. In fact, I was afraid of failure in so many areas of my life that by focusing on these fears, I was actually attracting those very same things. How many of you have heard of the law of attraction? Whatever you focus on expands. Whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you visualize, you materialize. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and your results show. That, my friends, is the law of attraction. Growing up, I was taught to get good grades, work hard, and you'll make it. I swore I was doing the right things. I was a good person, operated my business with integrity, helped everyone I could. So how did I get to the point where I was shaking my purse and searching the couch cushions for coins? I came to a point where I fell to my knees and prayed, Lord, help me see what I'm doing wrong. I reached for my Bible and it opened to Proverbs 17:16. Why should fools have money to buy wisdom when they aren't able to understand it? Then it opened to Matthew 7:8. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, the one who seeks finds, and for the one who knocks, the door will be opened. Holy crap, I thought, that's it. I was seeking more and more skill sets when I needed to focus on changing my mindsets. I needed to ask better questions, ask for help, knock on doors, and focus on what I want so I can get more of it. You see, you can have all the knowledge and skills in the world, but if you don't have the right mindset, you're just going to sabotage yourself. Then I decided to challenge and change each of my negative, self-limiting, non-supportive, self-defeating beliefs. Another way of putting this is, you can have all the leadership skills in the world, but that won't make a difference if your toolbox, in other words, your mindset, is too small and weak. And listen to this. If you want to change your outer world, you must first change your inner world. That point is so important, I'm going to repeat it. If you want to change your outer world, you must first change your inner world. Soon I began to look more closely at my own thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, assumptions, and conclusions, not just my clients' thoughts and beliefs, and not just the skills I was trying to teach them, not just the skills I was trying to practice or learn myself. Rather than pursuing yet another license, certification, or degree, I looked inward. As a result of this shift, I developed 7 leadership development recordings and wrote a book designed specifically for female leaders to overcome perfectionism, achieve success in spite of stress, break through their glass ceiling, and manage their time to achieve their goals. Each of these products help you overcome your blocks to becoming a master of motivation and influence, unleashing the leader within you and speaking with confidence and clarity. And now I help my clients and students think, feel, and act more rationally. Rather than just focus on skill sets, we concentrate on the mindsets as well. After challenging and changing what's in here, you'll be on your way to the top. If you'll do this, you'll begin to see your confidence and success skyrocket. As a leadership coach, I help newly promoted female leaders develop the confidence, courage, and credibility to break through their glass ceiling to improve their leadership. And I help executives struggling with addictions achieve and maintain successful recovery. I work with these leaders to overcome the gap between where they are now and where they want to be. I help them determine what they want, what they're willing to get it, and how to stay on track until they have it. Great strides have been made toward equality in the workplace, But even today, many people find themselves unfairly blocked from advancing their careers. They may be ideal candidates for promotion with relevant qualifications and experience and a can-do attitude, but often they see less competent coworkers surpass them or even overlook them for senior positions. They've hit the glass ceiling. In this women's leadership program, you'll learn business etiquette that allows you to achieve that promotion critical to your career success. You'll develop professional behaviors and executive presence that will take you to the next level in your career. For example, I had a client who was a successful executive for a well-known software company. She had advanced through the company ranks and believed she was being groomed for senior leadership. She hired me for coaching at the suggestion of the HR rep to further develop her management and leadership skills. This client came from the numbers side of business. She had a lot of intelligence but could use more self-confidence. Because she could quickly analyze a situation, she was also great at creating a solution and achieving the objective. However, as she moved up the management ladder, she found these skills weren't enough. More and more, she found that she needed to build people skills to connect with and get great results out of others. She wanted to understand the relationship component of leadership. Early in our coaching, she came to see that her introverted, leave me alone and I'll come up with a brilliant solution approach was doing little to empower her team and showcase her skills. Through our coaching, she developed the interpersonal skills to listen, empathize, build trust and rapport, and coach people to develop more productive and enjoyable working relationships with members of her team. Over a 4-month period, her knowledge and practice of leadership skills grew to a stage where she was spending 80% of her time empowering her team. The bottom line of our coaching work was that she was enjoying her work far more, and her business group was outperforming other divisions. My mission is to help you learn how to do the same. An overview of the topics are in this slide. Ways to break through the glass ceiling, business etiquette, professional success habits, and executive presence. We will delve much further into each of these areas in the full-length program. For today, this is just an abbreviated training session. The full-length program will be customizable to your needs, whether you are hired by me as an individual or the organization hires me. The length of the presentation is individualized to each person or organization. To identify sabotaging, disempowering, self-limiting, non-supportive beliefs that hold themselves back from success, I often have audiences complete the belief questionnaire. Because after all the business etiquette and savvy, skills and knowledge in the world won't make a difference if you have these beliefs. To help you understand how this happens, let's talk about the law of attraction. Do you believe your thoughts and beliefs are a major predictor of your results in life? If you do, you're well on your way to success. The basic formula for the law of attraction is T, which equals thoughts, lead to feelings, which is the F, leads to actions, represented by the A, which leads to results, represented by the R. So thoughts lead to what? Feelings, correct. And feelings lead to actions, yes. And actions lead to what? Results. Yes, thank you. For example, your parents, before you were born, they had thoughts, didn't they? And many of those thoughts were impure. And those thoughts led to feelings. And didn't those feelings lead to certain actions, which led to you the results of their marriage? But wait, where do our thoughts come from? Our thoughts come from our conditioning, what we heard, saw, and experienced growing up. For example, did adults in your life say, you know what, you're just a girl. Business leadership is a man's world. Men seem to have all the power, authority, and money. Oh, if you want to be a manager, that's kind of difficult. I don't know. You'll stress yourself out trying. Young lady, who do you think you are? Aren't you acting a little too big for your britches? You might as well just complete college, raise a family, and focus on something you can handle. Or did they say, you're awesome, you can do it. Women can be great leaders. You can handle it. You can do whatever you set your mind to do. Did they role model healthy, positive, assertive communication, courage, and work-life balance? Or unhealthy, negative, unreasonable boundaries? Many people don't understand that the physical, material world is just a projection of what's in here. That's why this type of training and coaching is so important. You have to blend the outer world or outer tools with your inner toolbox mindset. So here we have the inner game of business savvy and etiquette. Have you heard of the law of the harvest, or what you sow, you reap? Well, the seeds and roots of this apple tree represent your thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, assumptions, and conclusions. The fruit on the tree represent your results. So what creates the fruit? The seed and the roots, the seeds and the roots. Yes, thank you. It's not just what's above the ground, your actions that create your success. It's also what's below the surface, your invisible thoughts, beliefs, assumptions, attitudes, and conclusions, right? The invisible creates much of the visible. Many people don't understand that the physical material world is just a projection of what's beneath the surface, where we cannot see or necessarily control sometimes what's there. We pay too much attention to the fruits, the visible results above the surface. But what you cannot see is far more powerful than what you can see. Don't you agree? For example, the apple farmer, if he doesn't like the quality or quantity of the apples on his trees, he needs to look not at the tree itself and the roots, or the tree itself and the apples, but the roots, seeds, and soil. If you don't believe this, you will not be successful because you're operating at a superficial level. Remember, if you want to be successful, you have to look at your inner world. So in my coaching and training programs, I like to focus on the conditioning that leads to the best conditions. And we start by removing your self-limiting, self-defeating thoughts and beliefs and install supportive, empowering mindsets of successful leaders. This has a dramatic effect on your success. Have you spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars on self-help that turned out to be shelf-help? Have you attended tons of professional and leadership development workshops that, although it may have initially led to some change, eventually ended up in procrastination, frustration, and exhaustion? If you're like me, yes, you've been there. I don't want you to be in that space. And why does this happen? It's because of what happens beneath the surface. We try to achieve success with more and more how-to information. We're well aware of the visible 10% that's above the surface, the logical benefits of the how-to information, the why-tos, or the what's in it for me actions we consciously intend to change. However, we're seldom aware of or in control of that invisible 90% that's beneath the surface, our subconscious thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, assumptions, and conclusions, our unintentional habits, the what ifs or the why not tos, the deep-seated feared costs that hold us back. That's why this type of training and coaching is so important. You have to blend, again, your outer tools with your inner toolbox. You can take another generic supervision workshop and add another tool to your box. You can take another management training and add yet another tool to your toolbox. Take one of those project management, marketing, or negotiation skills seminars and add yet more tools to your box. But even if you do learn something from all of this training, it will only be temporary. The learning will seldom be sustained. That training won't have a long-term impact if your toolbox isn't strong enough or big enough to hold those tools or that knowledge. That's why our training is designed to identify your personal leadership toolbox or mindset, and using several high-impact transformational processes, we eliminate negative, non-supportive, disempowering mindsets and rewire you with positive, supportive, empowering mindsets of the greatest leaders. We do, again, some reconditioning. If you want to reach a certain level in your career, in your organization, you need to expand and strengthen your toolbox in these ways. So here are some pointers that we'll talk about as far as how to gain business etiquette. How many of you know bright, educated people with excellent technical skills who unknowingly offend their peers and superiors with their unprofessional, even bad habits, yet they wonder why they didn't receive that long sought-after promotion? If you earn top grades in business school, do you necessarily know how to behave in the office, at a company function, or at a high-powered meeting in a nice restaurant? Could not knowing how to act in these situations cause you anxiety? You bet. And can this pressure prevent us from thinking clearly or making sound decisions? Yeah. Without realizing it, we make costly mistakes, and those mistakes carry some hefty consequences, don't they? Lost business and career derailment are among them. This is the stuff that keeps people awake at night. In fact, I work with many people who have lost sleep over issues regarding business, etiquette, protocol. Here are some things I've learned from my own experience and from those of my clients. First of all, remove offensive words, labels, and insults, or unprofessional language. Words such as dumb, crazy, lame, ghetto, retarded, or fat. It's better to say that you don't understand someone's perspective or rationale for doing something. And avoid the subject of weight altogether. Number 2, watch your nonverbals. Why are nonverbals so critical? Well, they account for over half of your public image. How others perceive you. Often unconscious, they can make or break your image without you even knowing it. Words can be manipulated, but gestures, they're a lot harder to what? Control. Yes, thank you. For example, what message do you send when you place your hands over your mouth? Or when you keep clearing your throat? Picking your teeth or chewing your nails? How about checking your watch or your cell phone or the clock? These nonverbal messages communicate the wrong things. So they're best to remove those behaviors. You're best to remove all of those gestures. Although there are exceptions to every rule, most women and minorities have a difficult climb to the top. You may need to prove yourself twice as much as your male coworkers, especially if you happen to be both female and minority. So, number 1, avoid procrastination. Remember as a young girl raising your hand in class and waiting patiently? Likewise, a female entrepreneur launching a business idea may also hesitate. All too often, this trait holds us back. The most successful women are risk takers. They move quickly. Rather than waiting until everything is perfectly aligned before acting, they fearlessly drive forward. Number 2, use mistakes as lessons. Failure is not a weakness. Women strive to be perfect, but all great leaders stumble sometimes. What is critical is how you respond to failure. Instead of berating yourself when you make errors, embrace mistakes and transform them into learning experiences. Mistakes, common, along the road to success. They are common. And no matter how smart, prepared, or savvy you may be, expect to find yourself making a few during your career. Ask any accomplished professional, man or woman, and he or she will admit it. Mistakes offer opportunities to learn and begin again with a renewed sense of self and greater insights than ever before. So embrace those lessons rather than trying to avoid them. The more the merrier. Number 3, believe in abundance. Some women are convinced that there is a finite amount of power and achievement in the world. The truth is, power and success is not a limited resource. The law of universal abundance guarantees enough for everyone. When women advance, it's not at the expense of men. Leverage your accumulated professional experience or expertise. Too often we forget that comprehensiveness of our knowledge, skills, and ability is not limited to our current or most recent career. Your professional wheelhouse consists of the entirety, the total combination of your knowledge, skills, and experiences and abilities. When used to add value to all that you do, you literally end up with the home court advantage. This is because we often take for granted that certain professional experiences are not related to others, and that together they add up to strengthen your professional abilities. That said, don't take for granted the bounty of what you know. Dig deeper to see how successfully you can incorporate more of what you know into all you do. 4, aim high. While men usually dream big, women tend to have more modest goals. Get more comfortable showing ambition. Stretch your imagination about the role of women in workplace. And strive for executive leadership roles. Get perspective. Men tend to be more resilient and don't take career hits as personally as women do. Females can rebound from career challenges by soliciting feedback from trusted colleagues who will provide objective advice. Constructive feedback fosters personal and professional growth, so optimize feedback channels to maximize your learning and growth as a leader. Raise your standards. The same level of excellence that got you here will not take you to the next level where you want to be. Mediocrity has never been associated with high performers or high potentials. Therefore, whatever your career objectives, challenge yourself to work smarter rather than harder. Expect more from yourself than others would. That means adopting daily rituals designed to get you a little closer to where you want to be. Wake up earlier, work later. Complete the task sooner and better. Whatever it takes to elevate your performance and expedite outcomes. Results don't happen without rituals. Make sure yours reflect a level of excellence that positions you for greater success. Here are some more ways to break through the glass ceiling. Advocate for yourself. Many people wrongly equate tooting their horn with conceit, but it's not. In today's workplace, it's critical. While doing a great job is vital and being a quiet achiever is admirable, if you think that working your tail off and collecting lots of gold stars alone will get you there, will get you ahead, you may well end up being left behind, burnt out and bitter. If decision makers don't know who you are and know you but have no idea of what you're capable of, then you may miss out on opportunities that are given to those who aren't shy enough to promote themselves at the right place and time. So forget humility. Advocating for yourself isn't about proving superiority or stroking your ego. It's not about narcissism. After all, the more you know, or the more who know what you want, the more who can help you get it. I'm going to repeat that because that was super important, but I messed it up. The more who know what you want, the more who can help you get it. Sound good? You've got to ask for what you want, right? People can't know what you want just by looking at you. People aren't mind readers, and expecting your boss or anyone else for that matter to know what you want is unreasonable, futile, and frustrating. Also, don't be afraid to be bold in negotiation. Women often settle for less than men, which can have a cumulative effect over one's career. Of course, just because you ask for something, whether it be a higher salary, a bigger role, more support, more money, more time, is no guarantee that you'll get it. But not asking usually guarantees you won't. Network. Busy women who often have caretaking responsibilities in addition to careers tend to avoid after-hours networking events. But prioritize networking events in order to grow your reach and foster personal development. Set a goal to make 10 new connections. You won't find success with solitary efforts. In business, trying to do everything yourself is a recipe for disaster, no matter how capable you are. Beyond delegating duties, which is a must, making purposeful connections and collaborating with others adds unlimited value to the work you do. Networking on a regular basis is a great way to reach new audiences and share your expertise, to showcase your expertise. Keep things fun and interesting by mingling outside of your industry and your comfort zone. Toot your own horn. Women traditionally downplay their accomplishments. Toss humility aside and boast about your triumphs, about your skills. Women should create online portfolios, publish blogs, and update their LinkedIn profiles. That's what I do on a regular basis. I don't consider myself narcissistic or conceited or arrogant. You shouldn't worry about coming off as conceited. Proudly highlight your accomplishments. Cultivate confidence. Men overestimate their abilities and performance while women underestimate both. In reality, the quality of their performances don't differ. This confidence gap is alarming when given the growing body of research that shows just about how devastating lack of confidence can be. Success, as it turns out, correlates just as closely with confidence as it does with actual competence. You have to be very confident even though you're so self-critical inside about what it is you may or may not know. And confidence leads to taking risks. As one female executive told me, I have made it my mission to show up with confidence and be my true self. I have found that influence and authenticity are strongly linked. Only by being truly self-confident can we influence others to follow us. Let go of perfection. Having it all is an elusive myth. Instead of striving for perfection, move toward non-perfectionistic behavior. Being a perfectionist robs you of peace of mind, self-esteem, and enjoyment. Overcoming perfectionism can really reduce the level of stress in your daily life. To reduce perfectionism, identify, then dismantle the inner critic who keeps telling you that this is not good enough. Focus on challenging or disputing your inner critic. To change, practice positive self-talk. And one of my leadership development self-hypnosis audiobooks is meant for this very thing, overcoming perfectionism. Check it out by going to my website. We'll talk about that later in this program, in this video. Listen to your inner positive voice. You only have one life. If you have a goal, go for it. People may tell you that you can't do something, or they may even try and stop you, but be persistent. From a young age, I had a little voice in my head that said, you can do it. Whatever you set your mind to, go for it. And I did it. You can too. Think about who you want to be. Evolve and become that person. Be ready to make sacrifices. All career women juggle a lot, and mothers with demanding careers juggle even more. Add to this, we're still trying to fit in, prove ourselves, and advance. All of this can seem downright impossible. Be prepared to make sacrifices. If you're single, for example, you may have a romantic partner but little time for friends, or your dating life may be barely existent while you get a company off the ground. If you are a mom, you may put your family first but your friends on hold, which leads me to the next point. Own your choices. People, including your family and friends, will question what you do and why you work so hard. But be comfortable with your choices. Make sure you're doing things for the right reasons. If striving for the highest level of success is what you want to do, then as the famous Nike ad says, just do it. Don't waste your limited time and energy explaining yourself or fostering relationships with people who question or criticize you. Surround yourself with people who support you and go for it. What are some other ways to break through that glass ceiling? Here are some more. Express your ambition. We're capable of more than we think. Women have to think bigger before we can be bigger. Too often, though, we set our sights too low, aiming only for what we think we've got a solid chance at achieving, rather than what you truly are excited by. While reaching a new level in your career can be daunting, it provides you new opportunities and it unleashes hidden strengths that would never be realized otherwise. Know your value. Others value your skill, expertise, time, and potential, but they won't unless you do. How much is nature versus nurture is open to debate, but women have the tendency to underestimate and second guess ourselves more than men. How often have you met a woman who had more confidence than she had competence? Probably never. Yet, how often have you met men who fit that description? Now, I don't mean to insult men, I'm just challenging women to stop selling yourself short. One of my clients continually failed to secure a higher salary because she undersold herself and didn't know her own value. Only when she became really clear about how much she offered was she able to approach her boss. She said she was ready to resign if she wasn't willing to pay her what she was worth. In the end, she was awarded her pay increase. Be willing to take the path less traveled. For you to accomplish what inspires you, you have to be willing to use whatever strategies and tactics are right for you, even if that sometimes leads you on a different path. When I speak at women's leadership events, I often ask attendees to think about a leader they admire most. Usually about 2/3 of the audience will share they recalled a man, reflecting the simple fact that there have been just fewer women leaders to look up to than men. But listen to this. You have to see yourself as a leader before anyone else will, and you have to be willing to build your own unique brand of leadership, even if at times that has you standing apart from the crowd. Number 4, be willing to rock the boat. Women are great at nurturing relationships, but often fail to say anything that might jeopardize them. However, when you withhold your opinion and tiptoe around sensitive issues, you limit your value. Don't let your fear of rocking the boat keep you from challenging consensus thinking or groupthink. If an issue needs to be addressed, your candor will serve you well. Playing it safe in your conversations limits you and hides your true value. Build influence, grow trust, and add value through difficult conversations. Number 5, refuse to tolerate some things. Don't let yourself be intimidated. Many women who work their way to the top, especially male-dominated industries, say this is key. Many women tolerate behavior and circumstances that many men would never tolerate. Often women complain to me that they feel undervalued, overlooked, or undermined, and not just by men. Frequently, when I ask them what they've done to address the situation, they say nothing. But listen to this, if you want to be taken seriously, respected, and valued, you have to be willing to stand up for yourself. Teach people how you expect to be treated, and refuse to cower to those who may try to intimidate you. Generally, you get what you tolerate. So if you tolerate someone making snide remarks or passing you over for opportunities, you can expect more of the same. While you may not have done anything to warrant such behavior, by not making a clear stand for what you will and will not tolerate, you accept and contribute to your own misery. Take risk critical to your success. Fears regarding not succeeding, losing your job, or not being admired, that limits your career potential. I try not to let fear of losing my job keep me from doing something I know is the right thing to do. I understand that taking actions that involve risk of failure, criticism, rejection, or even job loss can be scary. Yet you cannot take on bigger challenges, build your skill set, or expand your leadership influence unless you're willing to take such risks. And while losing your job may seem pretty drastic, the courage you demonstrate by putting yourself in that position can earn you a lot of respect. It's this sort of courage that people want in their leaders. You can't achieve what you're capable of doing by playing it safe in your comfort zone. The common thread that binds us all women, CEOs and leaders alike, I've met over the years is their willingness to embrace risk, lay their reputation on the line, and take decisive action amidst the doubt and ambiguity. While they've been highly confident in their own right, it's their courage that's enabled them to accomplish all that they have. We shouldn't give our self-doubts power to make us settle for less than ourselves or from others what we really want. Here in this slide, we have an acronym that will help you develop business etiquette, but also develop rapport with your conversational partner. The S in the softener acronym stands for shoulders. Keep your shoulders straight and perpendicular with your conversational partner. Not perpendicular, but straight and forward. Shoulders and head should be facing the other person, and smile. The O stands for open. Keep your arms open and loose at your side as opposed to folded. And uncross your legs. Especially don't cross your legs away from the person. Aren't you putting up a wall when you fold your arms and cross your legs away from someone? The F stands for forward lean. So lean forward to show attentiveness, but not so far forward that you appear submissive or inferior. Come between about 18 to 24 inches distance to show that you like and trust the person and are interested in learning more about them. T is for the handshake that is somewhat between brutal force and limp deadness. That type of touch would have normally been traditional or customary expected before COVID, but now we have to do the fist pump or maybe a pat on someone's back, virtual high fives or virtual shakes. Depending on the culture, again, a fist pump or a hug may be acceptable. E is for eye contact. In our mainstream American culture, looking directly into someone's eyes relays honesty, caring, and interest. What does it mean when we avoid eye contact? Well, it could mean that I'm thinking I'm better than you, or you don't matter. It could mean I don't matter and I'm afraid. So it could mean a number of different things. When looking at the person, alternate between the forehead, the eyes, and the bridge of the nose to avoid a creepy stare down. N stands for head nods. So nod every now and then, or use an uh-huh or wow or really once in a while to show that you're following your conversational partner's content of conversation. E is for energy. The second E is for energy, expression, enthusiasm. Rather than be dull and monotone, show energy and enthusiasm for your interesting or to show interest in your partners. Again, their conversation. The second R, or the only R, stands for reflect their statement and emotions by paraphrasing. In other words, repeat in your own words what they said, mirror their nonverbals, and echo their words. And all of this using the same language as well helps pace the conversation. Even on a conversational or a subconscious level, you are subconsciously following and aligning with your conversational partner. So for example, you could reflect the person by saying, it sounds like you're frustrated because your team still hasn't completed the project. Or, it seems like you're happy with the way the project was done. In my Master of Motivation and Influence workshop, I teach you several powerful tools to listen actively, engage your employees so they feel heard and understood, and motivate them to be cooperative and productive. Now, I've given you 8 ways to instantly build rapport with people you meet. In the live in-person workshops, we usually take this acronym and these 8 methods and we mill around the room and just meet and greet people in the room by using the open posture and the forward lean and the touch and eye contact, the head nods, paraphrasing, using those techniques. Of course, online training doesn't require or allow us that opportunity, afford us that opportunity, but the live in-person or full-length program does have that opportunity. Have you ever worked with someone who seemed self-absorbed? They focus on me, while you quickly lose interest. How long do you want to listen to that person? Make an effort to learn more about others than you say about yourself. Focus on look at you versus look at me talk. Focus on the positive aspects of the people you meet. Be 100% present for the individual with whom you are interacting. Give your undivided, what? Attention. Yes, thank you. Using names in conversations, of course, requires you to learn a person's name in the first place, then remember it. But whatever you've done that works to remember names, do it again and again. A person's name is the sweetest sound to their ears, so use their name in their conversation as soon as you meet them and hear them tell you their name. For example, you can say, I really want to remember your name. Can you repeat it for me, please? Link their name with something about their appearance or personality. Maybe you could remember Sandy's name because she has sandy blonde hair. Or you could remember Todd's name because he has a great bod. Or Jim because he's real slim. More pointers on business etiquette. Never consider yourself above helping someone by doing an insignificant task. Delegate, but don't dump tasks on others. And no matter how significant an error, privately and constructively give feedback. Praise in public and reprimand where? In private. Yes, thank you. When giving feedback, focus on specific behavior, not the what? The person, right? Use objective, neutral, non-judgmental language. In my coaching difficult employees, resolving conflict without harming the relationship training, I teach many constructive feedback skills like this one. Rather than saying, you blithering idiot, what were you thinking? Say, when your reports are inaccurate, I have to correct them and explain errors to the client, and that jeopardizes our contract. What can we do so this doesn't happen again? That sounds much better, doesn't it? And next, what is a standard response? Oh my. What is a standard response you can use to take at least partial responsibility for a mistake? Because it's important that you're willing to take responsibility for mistakes rather than blame others. How about if you said, is there something I could have done differently? That will help you take partial responsibility. As a leader, don't expect from others what you're not willing to do yourself. What are some examples of what I'm referring to here? Maybe punctuality, dress, work ethic, gossip. If a nearby coworker is disrupting your work or you need to hold someone accountable, do so tactfully, calmly, and early on, before your frustration, irritation, and anger build. And be assertive, but not too pushy or aggressive. Go to your supervisor only if you and the coworker cannot resolve an issue. Listen, try to understand, acknowledge the person's complaint, and try to find a win-win solution. If you respect, value, and listen to others, you're making yourself more indispensable. Trying to promote your own career at the expense of others or undermining people behind the scenes is damaging to your career, isn't it? More business etiquette, write notes of appreciation to people, reward good deeds, try to praise 4 to 7 times more than you correct others, criticize, or reprimand them. Remain polite and forgiving, but firm with people. Remember, to err is human and to forgive is what? Divine. Yes, thank you. So show grace, acceptance, and patience. Keep your promises, commitments, and obligations. Under promise and over what? Over deliver. Yes, thank you. Keep your commitments. Be a person of your word. Remain prompt. If lateness is unavoidable, notify those involved. Yeah, this is something that I should learn. I'm not the most punctual person, but it is important to business etiquette and professionalism. Being punctual shows that you respect that person's what? Their time, right? Take the time to plan your projects, prioritize and allocate your time and resources effectively. Punctuality and respect for office hours is a sign of professionalism and upstanding, honest character. If you have trouble managing your stress and your time, I have another training program where you can learn several time management, stress management techniques. It's called Fire 'em Up Without Burning Out. Office gossip should be avoided. Say, for example, I make it a practice to avoid talking about someone unless they're present. That way they can get feedback and explain and justify why they said and did what they did or said. Direct communication, talking to people, not about them, is the only way they can get feedback, learn, and change. Number 2, always talk directly with the person with whom you have a conflict. The problem should be addressed with your coworker first, then with your own boss, then if no solutions are found, consult with HR. Follow the chain of command and don't try to bypass your boss when you are facing serious issues at work. Avoid bragging and being offensive or insecure. How can defensiveness, insecurity, and sensitivity hurt you? It can hurt you by, again, undermining your authority or your competence. You want to display confidence and competence whenever possible. Give recognition and don't take credit for others' work. Acknowledge others' work. If you make a mistake, put it behind you. Keep your composure. Acknowledge the mistake in a concise apology, then quickly move on. Don't dwell on it. As women, we do sometimes over-apologize, don't we? What does that do to your authority, your power, and credibility? If you do this, stop, because it ruins all of those things, your power, authority, and credibility. Executive presence is another part of this program. And one of the exercises we do in order to demonstrate or work on and develop the attendees' executive presence is to take a piece of paper, draw a vertical line down the middle, and write in the left column how people might describe you. Write down in the right column how you would like them to describe you, and then compare the two lists with a partner and discuss it, what your findings were in your partner share in the large group. Again, since this is an online training, you would do this individually in the full-length online training. But since this is an abbreviated version or session, you can pause your video and do it right now, or you can bypass this exercise and do it at the end of the video. I want to ask you one thing though first. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say executive presence? This exercise helps you see what traits you may want to develop and those you may want to eliminate. Of course, asking others to fill out the first column can be even more effective than just doing the right column alone and thinking about and writing down how you'd like others to describe you. You may be taking a risk now by asking how people describe you, but that 360 feedback is super important. Why is 360 feedback important to leaders? Well, obviously you need to know how others see you and how you're coming across to others. One of the most valuable experiences in my coaching programs is the 360 feedback tool that I use, which is the Leadership Practices Inventory. And that is a inventory or assessment that is done by the individual, his supervisor, his direct reports, and other stakeholders. It's a very important feedback process. Another part of executive presence is having lunch, coffee, or golf with others. If you believe work is all about work, you're going to miss out on some important opportunities, some important networking opportunities. Ask what's on your plate when you meet with senior leaders, and maybe even later, once you've developed a closer relationship, what keeps you up at night? These kinds of questions will help you learn what's on the person's mind, what their priorities are, and where the company is heading. You'll discover what that person views as the top priorities for the organization and how you can support them. These lunch meetings will put you in with the in crowd. You'll gain an important information you'll never would have had otherwise that helps you understand how the company works and how the players make decisions. Executive presence is also done by being honest but diplomatic. Using disclaimers like, you may not intend to interrupt others, but you often do so, and it leads to, and you fill in the blank. Those kinds of disclaimers soften the feedback that's about to come. You might not realize this, but you have the tendency to, and that's another disclaimer. Again, it allows you to give that person candid feedback, but it softens the blow. It's more of a diplomatic way to give that person information that is important to them. Again, what you're doing when you're making these statements is you're highlighting your competence, your knowledge, skills, experience, and showcases to those others that shows them that you have the wherewithal to go somewhere. I know you want to go far in this company, but there's something that gets in your way. That's another disclaimer that I use with my coaching clients. It is, again, a way to give that person feedback that may sting a little bit, but you're softening the blow and you're showing sensitivity. It's kind of like a carefrontation. It's confronting with care. Number 2, be brief, concise, and direct. It's been said over and over that women are master communicators, but communicating by giving lots of details, going on and on about how you feel and trying to involve everyone in the conversation doesn't always lead to action or results like being direct and concise does. Less is truly what? Better or more. Be a person of few words. Sharing everything about how you got from point A to point Z is not necessarily what the listener wants to hear. Often a busy executive just needs the bottom line. Believe me, I've worked with several executives and they are pressed for time. They want results. They want the bottom line. I worked with a client whose main goal is to communicate more directly and concisely. People were complaining, if she'd only get to the point. I can't see her today. I don't have the time. Don't answer the phone. It may be so-and-so. She talks forever. She talked for 20 minutes and I still don't know what she said. That's what her coworkers were saying, and that's what her supervisor said when she hired me as her coach. Her busy clients and coworkers don't have the time or patience for her confusing, lengthy dialogues. Share your request related to your objective, then add only the necessary details. For example, you can say, this is what we need and 3 reasons why we need it. The further you go beyond the basics, the more opportunity you have to lose your audience. Keep it simple. That's the key. How well you communicate impacts your image. You really are what you say and how you say it. The image you convey with your communication will help or hinder your ability to influence people. It'll play a major role in determining whether or not you get their business and maybe even get invited to the higher ranks. A few more Points about executive presence: use power words like proven, success, results, important, productivity, performance, priorities. These are power words that'll help you give a oomph to your message. Believe in and mean what you say. Be confident in what you say and do. What behaviors indicate confidence? Speaking clearly, iterating your words, feeling and radiating security, stability and reliability, holding your head high with erect posture, rejecting negatives and turning them into positives, giving firm answers and being sure of yourself, admitting your mistakes and learning from them, but quickly getting over them. What, on the other hand, indicates arrogance? Instead of waiting for others to notice your accomplishments, you quickly toot your own horn, but it's more than just tooting your own horn. You can tell when a person is arrogant. They go on and on boasting about themselves. Whereas a confident person will toot their own horn, but they know when to shut up. They don't take all the oxygen out of the room. If you can think, how about me? I can do that, instead of waiting to be promoted, to be hired, to be selected or chosen, you're going to be accessible to others and interesting. Think carefully about what you wear to every meeting, social event, and public appearance. Remain centered, poised, and calm. Leadership is all about getting people to cooperate with you, socializing your ideas and building bridges to meet others halfway. Here are some methods for building your social awareness and becoming politically savvy. Gain contextual awareness. Read people's emotional states, willingness to interact, and possible intentions or goals. Know who has the influence and pull. That is, who do people respect? Who has credibility and clout? Who has visibility? Who is valued? And who's in a position to strengthen or help sell your ideas? Know the views of key players and how you might be able to help resolve their problems with whatever it is you're trying to sell. Develop social intelligence. Network with key stakeholders. Find out about their needs, concerns, and goals. Know which people to influence. Who has decision-making power in your organization? Who are the informal influencers? Who is most likely to resist your agenda because of competing objectives? The key is to identify the stakeholders and influencers who can help you achieve your job and career goals. This helps you cultivate a deeper understanding of your network so you can build meaningful connections and secure allies to amplify your influence. Have presence, executive presence. Carry yourself so that you send signals that you are in authority. Women have a tendency to be helpful and polite to the point of not sharing their opinions or defending themselves as an authority. But to have executive presence, you must know and state your opinions firmly, reinforcing them with strong rationale. Don't make things so personal. See business as business. Feelings seldom count in the world of business. Organizational goals matter much more. Be authentic, honest, open, trustworthy, and have good intentions. Women tend to get derailed when they play their cards too soon, thinking that everyone else is authentic. Instead, remain authentic. You'll also place yourself in a position of strength if you listen to others first, and then, based on their concerns, state your own views. Step back, read the individual, ask people questions, see where they stand on the issue, and then build your case. advocate your views or state your recommendations. Show empathy and build connection. Be attentive to others and adapt your language to your audience. If you see others' points of view without listing irrelevant details, you'll be better off. Listen attentively and give others credit. This strengthens your position. And be clear. Have clarity. Being decisive in the way you say things and getting your point across, rather than letting others direct you. Explain your views in a way that makes others want to join your proposed course of action. You can do this by owning your message and using an active voice followed by a strong rationale in a confident statement such as, "I think we should do this for the following reasons." When women tend to go on and on about how they feel, they sometimes get bogged down by these details. The road to success is paved with political savvy and social intelligence. Here are some negative self-defeating thoughts regarding success as it pertains to business etiquette and savvy. Do you ever get tripped up in a situation and right then and there the old tapes play? Each time you listen to these dialogues inside your head, these messages, you believe them. You're relying on useless historical information and outdated labels from others. Many girls who were assertive were labeled with the word bossy. Many teens, female teenagers, are called bossy by simply being determined and intelligent. This is wrong. Parents and teachers need to stop unfairly labeling girls as bossy when they exhibit these leadership traits. People will tell you that you can't do it. Other messages may be, "Women can't, blah, blah, blah," and you fill in the blank. Can you think of any other messages? Did your parents or other adults, for example, say that when they were angry about something that had nothing to do with that? Or did they say that because they just had a bad day at work and you just happened to be there to kick instead of the dog? I'd say it's time for you to get rid of those tapes, wouldn't you? Those old messages. Other messages our parents gave us or other adults gave us were the what ifs. What if you can't make it? Who's going to pick up the pieces? It's a good old boy network out there. They're not going to promote you. The path to success will not be lined with roses, I'll tell you that much. It may be hard and you may encounter fear, especially if you hear these messages. But press through. Take leaps of faith. I remember presenting to a tech group when I was either the only woman in the room or one of just a few in a group of 50 to 60 executives, male executives. This experience was pretty daunting and intimidating, and these experiences can be uncomfortable. Fortunately, I stayed the course and ultimately forged great relationships and friendships. We're going to obliterate those old negative, non-supportive messages. They were impressed on Remember, you create your life one thought at a time by attracting like-minded people, places, and things. It's not always what you don't know that prevents us from being successful. It's often what you think you know that isn't so. It's the negatively distorted, self-limiting thoughts or beliefs. And now is the time to change your self-talk to be more positive, empowering, and confidence so you can build business savvy, so that you can develop business etiquette and break through your glass ceiling. This is what helps you create the courage, relaxation, stability, security, and contentment you need to be a true professional, to break through your glass ceiling. When the negative voices come into your mind, stop what you're doing, Say to yourself, I know that isn't true. I know that's fear talking. Then replace it with supportive, empowering thoughts, and remember the times that you had been successful. If the voice says, I'm not smart enough, then change the script to something that you can believe, something that is positive, like, I am smart enough, and I'm getting smarter each and every day. The hardest part is identifying the negative voice. Sometimes those ideas have gotten so ingrained in us since childhood that we believe the thought is tremendously true. And at this point in the live in-person or online training, we read about several confidence-creating declarations together. And those confidence-creating declarations include some of those in the next slide. In summary, we've discussed ways to break through your glass ceiling, business etiquette, executive presence. We've discussed the skills. Now you can go out and apply them. In our online training, the full-length version, and the in-person live training, we take you from learning the skills to application and skill development. On your own, you complete the sentence stems listed on the slide, and you incorporate those skills into your individual leadership plan. But also what I have the audiences do is write this down on a piece of scratch paper, place it in an envelope that's provided at the training session, a self-addressed envelope, so each address or each attendee addresses their envelope to themselves. They seal it with the completed sentence stems, and I mail it back to them 3 months later. I challenge them to make sure that they do the development that they promised to do on this piece of scratch paper that I send to them 3 months later. It's a great way for them to hold themselves accountable to taking the training and developing it into some skills, to actually practicing the skills learned. Here are other trainings that we offer at Advantage: leadership coaching, leading with emotional intelligence, facilitating productive meetings and teams to achieve results, fire 'em up without burning out, time and stress management, coaching difficult employees, resolving conflict without harming relationships, motivating employees to peak performance, and master of motivation and influence. Tell me, if you would please, do you lose time, sales, and money due to poor time or stress management among your employees? And do you have employees who are absent, or worse, burned out? They show up but aren't fully engaged and productive? And do you see decreased performance and profit because of workplace conflict, unproductive meetings, or lack of emotional intelligence? Now, if you answered yes to any of these, you might enjoy our other training programs listed here. We have several programs to offer. For example, Fire 'em Up Without Burning Out will teach you to delegate more, stop micromanaging, and structure, organize, and control your work and time instead of letting it control you. How does that sound? Fire 'em Up Without Burning Out is designed to give you powerful tools to help you distinguish the important from the urgent, distinguish your tasks, and use skills to enhance performance, not hinder it. As a result of this training, you decrease turnover and increase productivity because your employees will be much more relaxed, confident, and composed. Sound like something you'd like? Is it okay if I share a quick story about one of my coaching clients who benefited from this program? He's an architect from a small firm who struggled with managing his time, reducing his stress, perfectionism, micromanaging, and work-life balance. Working from 5 a.m. to 11 p.m. was taking its toll on him. He worked so hard, so many hours, He had distanced his family and couldn't manage to fit exercise into his brutal schedule. Remember the song Cats in the Cradle? After missing his son's graduation and his wedding anniversary, he said enough. Can you imagine how this guy was feeling? As a result of attending Fire 'em Up without burning out and working with me as his coach for a few months, he now finds the time to exercise, has work-life balance, gets past the obstacles to delegating, and works smarter, not harder. The cost of losing a leader can be as much as their annual salary. For this region, that's about $80,000 to $100,000. And add to that the 3 to 5% that takes to bring that person up to speed. Our coaching and training fees are much less than this, just a fraction of that. If you're burned out working long hours, trying to meet tight deadlines and juggling family obligations without time to exercise, sleep well, or reflect, leadership success in spite of stress can help you stay on top of it all. Offering over 20 years of my experience coaching business leaders struggling with demanding work schedules, it'll help you seek balance for a fulfilling personal life and successful career. This book is designed to help you break through your own glass ceiling and meet your leadership goals. It takes you through a series of solution-oriented questions designed to clarify what it is you want and how to get it. The questions also help you identify where, when, and with whom you were successful in the past so you can do more of what worked and less of what doesn't. The hands-on practical information and self-assessment exercises in the book show you how to improve your productivity, save your time, honor your values and priorities, delegate, improve relationships, overcome perfectionism, and increase your assertiveness. Whew, that's a mouthful. The book also provides checklists that help you identify negative thinking habits and challenge those non-supportive, disempowering, self-defeating beliefs, sabotaging your success. It helps you get out of your own way and finally take your foot off the brake so you can allow yourself to be successful and meet those long sought-after goals that seem beyond your reach. Next, we have our Leadership Development Self-Hypnosis audiobooks. Whatever you habitually think, even though it may be false, sinks down into your deep inner subconscious mind as true, and this creates your actions, experiences, and results. Once your deep inner subconscious mind accepts something, it executes it. Even so, if you've conveyed negative beliefs to your mind, your deep inner mind, you can change by relaxing, visualizing positive outcomes, and listening to positive, constructive affirmations. What's most exciting is you can reprogram your inner mind and access 100% of your brain's power to learn anything more quickly and easily through these audiobooks. These recordings use advanced human performance technology. We combine the powerful technologies of neuro-linguistic programming and whole brain learning. What makes our recordings unique? Number one, they focus not just on the specific skill set referred to in each title, they also target the thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, assumptions, and conclusions critical to effective leadership. Secondly, each title includes 2 tracks. You get 2 recordings for the price of 1. Track 1, Bedtime Bliss, relaxes you with ambient music, soothing nature sounds, and vocals. Track 2, Start Your Day in a Positive Way, is designed to be listened to immediately as you awaken to reinforce the concepts learned in Track 1. It's designed to maintain your goals when you listen to each recording as you drive, exercise, or conduct your everyday activities. You can have all the best leadership tools, all the latest and greatest research at your fingertips, But if you have a weak toolbox, self-defeating mindset, in other words, all the tools in the world aren't likely to bring you success. If you haven't been successful after attending training after training and paying expensive coaches and consultants, these recordings will help you overcome the negative self-limiting beliefs blocking your progress. Those audiobooks include Achieve Success in Spite of Stress, Break Through Your Glass Ceiling, Laser Focus for Increased Success, Master of Motivation and Influence, Overcoming Perfectionism, Speaking with Confidence and Credibility, and Manage Your Time and Meet Your Goals. What makes our executive recovery coaching unique? Because I believe leadership is developed from the inside out. We promote self-awareness by incorporating several self-assessments that inform your individual leadership development action plan. We also challenge negative, self-defeating, disempowering thoughts and beliefs that hold you back. With your coach, you can role-play practice the skills learned in these training programs. Unlike other coaching or training programs, we address the inner game of leadership. You may ask, the what game? Yes, you heard me right, the inner game. Challenging mental blocks so that you get your foot off the brakes and allow yourself to succeed is super important. The participants of our coaching take a DISC assessment, Strengths Finder inventory, and a 360 feedback tool. They then create that development plan that I just mentioned based on the results of those assessments. You'll see here on this slide some other tools to continue supporting and reinforcing your learning to become a better leader. These are such great deals that I can only do it for people who subscribe to our YouTube channel. For example, the Leadership Success in Spite of Stress book is normally $35, but $11 if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Leadership Development Success book and the Leadership Development Self-Hypnosis audiobook recording is normally $30, is only $10 for YouTube subscribers. The book and two of those audiobook recordings are normally $95, but only $30 for YouTube subscribers. 5 Leadership Development Self-Hypnosis audiobook recordings are normally $150, but today only $45 for YouTube subscribers. Our 8-week Leadership Success coaching group is normally $750 per leader, but for YouTube subscribers, that's $500 only. Our coaching is normally, individual coaching is normally $600, but if you are a YouTube subscriber, it is only $400. Leaders in Recovery is Advantage Recovery Coaching's podcast. Have you ever wondered how you can stay in recovery for good? Would you like to know how to overcome the obstacles to long-term sobriety and get out of your own way? Well, that's exactly what this podcast is all about. Hear how executive recovery coaching is helping executives and other high-profile leaders succeed and enjoy successful recovery. This is cutting-edge recovery from the inside out. One of the most important parts of a leader's recovery is to keep learning. These podcasts are a perfect way to learn for even the busiest lifestyle. Episodes can be listened to in the comfort of your own home, during your commute to work, on the go, anytime that you need a little inspiration. Remember, people in recovery can't do it alone. Life doesn't have to end after you quit. Recovery is possible. With Leaders in Recovery podcast, you can do it. Leadership Success Sound Bites is Advantage Leadership Coaching's podcast. This is cutting-edge leadership coaching from the inside out. More than just skill sets, mindsets too. Beyond information to transformation. Better leaders, better decisions, and better results. We help you develop new skills you need as an effective decision maker. When it comes to your livelihood, the lives of your employees, and your reputation, making the best decision is vital. That's where Leadership Success Soundbites comes in. I hope that you enjoyed this presentation. Have a great day. Have a very productive day.